Namaskar. Dear learners, I am Dr. K. S. Kusuma, Associate Professor, AJK MCRC, Jamia Millia Islamia. Welcome to the part 2 lecture of mobile journalism, that is MOJO, tools and practices. In the previous lectures, we have discussed the definition of MOJO and various practices which different organizations are following, and also the importance of mobile filmmaking and mobile journalism and the potential of mobile in content creation. Now, in this lecture, we will discuss about the tools and techniques of recording and distributing and streaming the journalistic content using mobile phones, ethics of mobile journalism, and MOJO, which is adapted by different organizations, their practices. Now, let us discuss mobile journalism in practice. There are many organizations both in India as well as in other parts of the country, they have adopted the mobile journalism training, that is not only just buying the equipment or making the space for mobile journalism news gathering and processing, but they have trained their journalists. So, as observed by McKinsey and Maria in 2016, Al Jazeera Media Institute using smartphones and mobile devices, the journalists have been able to cover news and events in short duration with less effort. So, in using mobile journalism, the time it takes and also processing the news is very less when compared to the traditional news practices. NDTV is one of the organizations which has linked with one of the popular mobile company, and they have started encouraging their staff to shift towards mobile reporting through mobiles. And Al Jazeera is also one of the first major news organization that has invested in training and developing mobile journalism skills and publishing one of the important guidebook which is used by not only the journalist, but also you students. It will be very useful, and also for the reporters is one of the part of this effort, and where you will find all kinds of what are the apps that is required, how you can go about it reporting and all these things. The Al Jazeera Media Institute began training its journalists as early as 2013, and in 2016 they gave MOJO training sessions to 90 journalists in 90 days. So, here in 2017, if you look at Indian examples, Hindustan Times has been striving to build the world's largest in-house mobile journalism team by training its 750 journalists, that is a huge number, across 23 editions all over India to produce mobile phone videos along with stories for all media and platforms, as quoted by Kumar and Hanif in 2017. So, this shows that lot of organizations which have a large presence, they have started moving towards the or we can say that they have started incorporating mobile journalism as an important news production practice. And NDTV, it is the first major TV news network in India whose reporters are trained in using mobile phones to capture video stories, as quoted by Packer in 2017. This approach combines Mozo with broadcast journalism by producing stories on mobile phones while broadcasting it through its television network, partnering up with Samsung to use their 4K mobile phone technology to replace its bulky studio cameras. Of course, this has reduced the production cost, and news gathering has become more efficient and dynamic, and as well as shift from the old traditional modes of production to the new international standards. If you look at the regional and local news, we have two examples to quote here. One is East Mojo, a Guwahati based digital news media platform operating in 8 northeastern states and also in the North Bengal, began in 2018 by adopting the mobile first approach. Okay? This is an important thing, mobile first. Any news comes, it will be right in your hands actually. So, and as an observation, Quint, a digital media site, started Facebook Live at 18.4 Indian Standard Time and another at 18:39 minutes Indian Standard Time, both ending with 281,000 viewers and 24,000 views respectively. Here the point is that using the new ways of reaching to the new age audience, including millennials. So, here you see the Quint, even the Quint uses the portable media like 360-degree videos using the mobile cameras. Here the mobile, the definition is different. Mobile is not smartphones, there is a mobile cameras which are small. Like for example, GoPro cameras, there are small cameras. So, as you see, Quint went live through a social media platform. So, here you do not need a tower to broadcast. So, it engaged more than 200 people to interact and express their opinions. So, that is very important, and this is very well quoted by Ritika Dubey in the Potential Journalism in Indian Media Industry, says that they have find different ways and where the mobile and the social media platforms works seamlessly. It is much easier, and reaching to the people is also more easier. With FB Live, that is Facebook Live, Quint was tweeting updates on Twitter. See, there are two different mediums, they are networked actually. You see this tweet, if you want, if you click, maybe you will be switching, it is directing you to FB, or maybe you are going to their website, or maybe you are going to the YouTube. So, that way you can, they are working a very interesting way of convergent mode of operating their news portal. It also published an article on its web page on the same day of the protest. They said that digital media was engaging its audience through Facebook Live, Twitter, and an article on their own web page simultaneously. So, this gives more audience to access the different choices of their content, that is important. So, with the mobile, and I am not saying that mobile made it only possible, mobile has given more possibilities of doing this kind of across the platform news. So, prominent news organizations, they recognize the growing potential of smartphone driven news production. You see, smartphone driven news production and consumption have devoted to independent teams in the newsrooms to cater to mobile and online studios. This is the finding by Anup and Sohaib in 2017. They says that they have adopted and they have made room for this smartphone driven news. Even the Deutsche Welle DWTV, when they are making the content in Hindi, they are only looking for youngsters who can make content with their mobiles. Now, let us look at the tools and equipment. What are the tools and equipment that is required for mobile journalism? In mobile journalism, you need tools, you need training. Of course, in the earlier lectures, I have talked about citizen journalism and the user's content is also taken for the journalistic practices and journalism content, but here what I am talking about, you also need to get trained to work and more efficiently, get best out of the mobile phone technologies. You need training that is required. So, here along with that, you need to, if you want to match with the professional requirements of the news media, which includes web, whether it is a TV or a newspaper or maybe audio, you need to have certain equipment that is little not much expensive, but still not everyday user can afford, that is also there, but still with this, with the reasonable smartphone you can do that. Let us look at the equipment. You see, first what you need is a smartphone. You need a smartphone, and this smartphone, be it any company, I am not saying that it should be a specific company, but here you need a phone, and the phone should be having camera, and at least reasonably it can have HD or at least 720p or even nowadays better cameras are also coming, that is with they can record up to 4K and 60 FPS, that is they are able to record. So, here you need a phone which has a capability to connect to the internet and a storage. Here in the phone, a storage is very important, because if you look at, if you are recording in full HD, you need to have bigger space. Say like we always do in traditional camera recording, we always change the cassette or we always change the memory card, the bigger memory card. So, here also what you need to do is that you keep extra memory cards. The phones which comes with more than 64 GB would be what I would like to suggest if you are doing a professional mobile journalism exercises. So, that when you are shooting an event, for example, it should not end in 10 minutes. Sometimes you may want it, because things are not planned. I mean to say, if there is an interview, you are very well planned, you know how much time is required, and according to the quality, and accordingly you will take it. You take a phone where there is a possibility of press and take out the, because always if you press and you can take out the card very easily. So, that swiftly you can keep the memory card inside. And another thing is that when you are using your phone, do not cover it with any of the covers, so that that the sound and other things may be get affected. So, I will talk about other things when it comes to the editing actually. So, here in the phone, the debate is whether the phone camera is capable of recording it or not. So, here I will say yes, phone cameras, if you look at, they are all technologically software driven also. The phone cameras are not like, of course, every camera has certain kind of a software, but the phone cameras, the softwares are also network based. The phone cameras are more intelligent, they adjust the light, they adjust some of the things on their own if you want to leave it, but otherwise you can do it. Otherwise how you can do it, because you need to convert this as a kind of a DSLR camera by installing different apps. What are these apps? something like, for example, there are free apps, there is a open shot camera app. So, there are some paid apps for shooting these apps. Of course, Filmic Pro, one of the most professionally short films as well as journalistic content, they are using Filmic Pro, and there are number of other apps which are there. InShot is there, or you have a variety of sometimes some companies they are giving these apps with the phone. So, what this app will do is that you will be shooting with your own camera, but the camera will be operated through the app. What it does? The app, with the app if you are choosing, then whatever the options that you are getting in a DSLR camera, you will get there also. That means, you can change the aperture, you can change the ISO, you can change the focus. I mean to say, you can manually control the various settings that you do it in a DSLR or any bigger camera, you can do it. And of course, the physical capability is a limitation in mobile phones, but what I would like to tell, for shooting you need a phone with the camera and the camera application, the mobile application is required, and these mobile application, they will help you to control various as per the requirements. If you are shooting a bird, maybe a cycle rally, you need a different aperture. So, likewise for sound there are different apps are there. To record the sound, live sound, you need something like Lexis Audio, okay, and Audio Lab. There are number of apps which are there which need to be installed. Any one app you must stick to it, and these camera apps also capable of recording it sound. If you want to record in the phone itself sound separately, you need another app. Otherwise, the camera app is capable of recording the sound. And likewise, see, camera apps, sound apps, and you see the editing and special effect apps. I am to say that for editing you have LumaFusion, like Filmic Pro, LumaFusion. In my next lecture, I will detailedly, in a separate lecture, I will explain how you can edit like you used to have in camera editing. So, the same way you can do it. So, editing is a separate subject, but you have different apps in the for the editing, professionally editing the footage, and special effects. You can add you can do the green screening, your green screen, maybe you can do the color correction. All these things are possible, like softwares like Adobe, softwares like Macintosh, the Final Cut Pro which are offering, all of them more or less I must say they are available. You can do it in minimum, because in the news journalism you do not need these effects, because otherwise you will be tampering with the truth. So, but what I will tell you is that there is a possibility of these apps. So, phone, camera, apps for different purpose. Then what is required? You see, tripod. The mobile phones have changed. There is no concept of tripod. You see, there is no concept of tripod. See, tripod means 1, 2, 3. There is no concept. See, you see, this is a monopod. In the monopod, what happens? You can just convert it, and maybe wherever there is, you can just hang it. That possibility is there. Or you see, this is a monopod and also selfie stick. That means, you see, it will move maybe 6 feet, 5 feet, and there is a small connector here. With the mobile, you can always connect. You have a connector which is nowadays almost universal. You have a to keep your camera of any size. You see, there is a small band which will move, and you can keep the camera in this your mobile phone, and there is a screw and you can screw it here by connecting it. So, here what I would like to tell you is the selfie stick is very easy to carry, and there is another connector here. See, you need a small connector here like this. You see, if this is shoe, and here I am connecting it here, and I can connect a tripod. You see, it is a small tripod, or maybe I can connect it to a bigger tripod. So, what it happens mostly in the Mojo, you do not need the use of tripod. You can use it, but mostly in a hurried situation, you are not going to wait for a stable shot. So, you will be using a tripod which can be extendable, and these are small connectors you need, so that you can connect it and you can make your shot stable also, or you can do a handheld shots also. And this works as like a even selfie mode. You can record it and you can also shoot it and you can make it live. And not only this, you see, you have you need a different mics for it. I mean to say, sometimes the one of the major lacuna in mobile phone recording is this sound. Sound is a big problem. You have now there are wireless recorders have come, very small tiny recorders. You connect it with the phone with the Bluetooth, and maybe you want somebody, you are taking an interview, you keep it with them, maybe in their near to their pocket, or maybe plug in, and when you are recording, it is wireless, it will record very efficiently. But if you want to go for a wire thing, of course, you need to have a stereo jack which is required, and of course, if you are doing an outside, you take at least you see up to different lengths it will come, actually depends on your usage, 5 meters, 6 meters, depending on your usage, this mic things. If you are shooting, these mic wires will come, and if you are shooting for an interview, and of course, there are 2 mics. If you are shooting one interview, you say, "Hey, see, this is what this simply it is enough." And like I have kept a mic here, you can keep it. If it is a planned shoot, if it is not a planned shoot, you can always hold, you can always use a small microphone which is detachable, and that will be quite possible. Otherwise, what happens? There is a different kinds of gimbal comes. You see, one of these is the gimbal. It operates, there is a battery here, you need to charge this, and this gimbal will get activated and rotated. For example, if you are going, the main another problem is the jerk. When you are moving, it should not give too many jerks. For the viewers, it is very difficult to stay with the content. So, what it does, even if you are moving, it will adjust according to the movement, and it will try and give at least some kind of better stability to your shots. And in this also, you see, this is a universal, like I have told you. Here I will be keeping my mobile in this, and once I operate, I can actually, it has a it's a kind of a small automated tripod. See, I can even fix a tripod here, and I can keep it in a stable way, or I can move, and accordingly it keeps moving, and according to the subject. So, that is a very beautiful and also very interesting tool for it. And what I would like to also tell you that for mics, you can, for example, this kind of situation, it is good to have a mic separately fitted on this gimbal, so that it can be recorded, or there comes a smaller mics which are like your pen. You see, there is half of your pen, you see, a standard pen, if you take half of your pen, and there is a stereo jack, you just fix the stereo jack and your mic is ready. You can make, there are different companies, Sony, Rode, and different companies are there, and you can choose them, and I am not going to suggest any specific brand, but you can see the usage of it, and it will come through the L, and this mic is there, and when you are recording also sound. So, what I would like to assert here, sound is very important in the video, and if you are recording with the mobile, not every camera is capable of recording good sound. For good sound you need accessories like this, or maybe a separate small mics, the mini mics which you can connect it. And if you see, you need a separate bag, I mean to keep all these things, and also small accessories like this. For example, you see this is a small accessory, is I mean to say, generally you say dead cat, you say this, if there is a lot of sound going on, say I will fix this onto this small microphone, and this will try to cut the unnecessary sounds. Of course, you have for live streaming, there are number of apps like Ustream, and also YouTube Live is also there, OBS is also there, and I would like to also advise you that when you are shooting, you keep your phone in flight mode, so that suddenly a message will pop up, suddenly a call will come. So, it will not be good that it will disturb your process of content recording. So, here the obvious reasons, the visual quality sometimes, because when you are moving very quickly, the focus will not be as fastly shifts as the bigger cameras does. So, that is one of the lacunas, and if you see it does not achieve superior content if it is, unless you have a gimbal. If you have a gimbal, it will achieve. Of course, these are the number of issues like focus, and also for a gimbal there is a 20 mAh 2000 mAh battery is there in this. So, you need to always carry a battery, and or maybe fully charged, and also an extra power backup that is required, and try and use wireless, that will save the power, because battery is an important thing. Generally what happens, when I go for shooting, I always carry not one mobile, maybe I will be carrying 2 mobiles, so that one will be always on charge, another will be I will be shooting. And when you preview more times, for example, viewfinder is a fuse, for example, if it is a 5.5 inch screen, if I am viewing that, then what happens, battery will drain. These are some of the points which you need to keep in mind while you are going for a shoot. Now, let us talk about the ethics of mobile journalism. Of course, despite ongoing integration of smartphones in newsroom workflow, there are some ethical questions concerning mobile journalism, but we should discuss them. The ethics of mobile journalism, where especially content comes from citizen journalism, the authenticity of the video footage or image is very important. So, there is a problem sometimes whether the exact permissions are taken or appropriately that is recorded or not, that is very important. So, not everything is available to just shoot whenever we want. It is not possible even though you have mobile. So, digital literacy and awareness among the masses and also the training is very important. The training to make them a potential journalist by to harness the mobile journalism is very important. And the New York Times controversy about the story titled Grunt's Life, taken from a war riddled zone of Afghanistan, is highly criticized, because they are saying that they depicted the lives of US soldiers in the conflict zone, that they shot it on iPhone, and by the New York Times journalist Damon Winter, is doctored picture. I mean to say that they are showing more and more sympathy towards the US Army. but that is not the entire case. The situation is quite different, is highly criticized. Veteran journalist Dougal Shah, in a recent conversation with the BBC, they echoed the same views, pointed out that though mobile journalism has emerged as a new trend in journalism practice, a journalist should take utmost care in keeping up with the core of journalistic values like neutrality, unbiased reporting, honest reporting and all these things, so that journalism ethics are not compromised. In conclusion, I would like to say, in 2016, Yusuf Omar, an award winning mobile journalism expert and the mobile editor at Hindustan Times, had used the smartphone application that is called Snapchat. You see what I am telling, different platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube, different platforms, not only sticking to their own news platforms. So, Yusuf used Snapchat to break stories of sexual violence in India, while covering the Indian chapter of Climb Against Sexual Abuse, campaign to climb the Chamundi Hills in Mysore to raise awareness about the sexual violence. Omar took the opportunity to bring out stories of survivor. So, that is very important, that how even Instagram is used and other platforms which are WhatsApp is used for all these purposes. It is not just only the dedicated bigger platforms only used, like Twitter, these are also used. So, one successful use of mobile journalism at Hindustan Times was when Omar, along with another HD journalist Sweta Kaushal, used a Snapchat or maybe Snapchatted a mobile journalism journey in Punjab in pursuit of drugs, and they could able to cover the entire story of the whole drug peddlers and all these issue in a more in depth with the mobile phones, and the platform is also very important in the Snapchat. That is a unique thing. So, there are number of other platforms one can use it, and mobile phone footage is often located in the category of citizen journalism, but reports from people who are in the right place at the right time to bear witness to catastrophe, terror and violence, which I have already explained, and to record and disseminate their experiences online on content sharing sites such as YouTube, Flickr and Twitter, that is as observed by Alan. 2019, Asia's first international mobile journalism conference was held in Bangkok, Thailand by the German political foundation Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, that focused on the advocating mobile journalism in the region and to create a strong network of mobile journalists in Asia and cross border. So, many Asian mainstream news networks are adopting to Mozo in their newsrooms as well. As Scott observes in 2017, the daily newspaper Pratham Olo has built the largest network of mobile journalists in Bangladesh, with 184 journalists around the country trained to shoot, edit, publish news with their smartphones. According to Kumar and Hanif in 2017, mobile journalism is a multi-skilling process that is characterized by downsizing the workforce, increasing the dependence on part-time and contractual based jobs, putting pressure on journalists via incorporating new technologies and emphasizing corporate attempts to respond to consumer demands, that is n-skilling, as well as production process that is simpler, repetitive and less rewarding for journalists, that is de-skilling. So, this is a critique on mobile journalism, that even we have seen due to entry of the mobile journalism, there are many journalists who lost their jobs. Whenever there is a new technology comes, be it agriculture, be it any field, automation, technology has of course given opportunity to some, but many it is a losing of jobs. And nevertheless, the transition from the traditional newsroom to the this mobile journalism and technological change, along with the cultural shift for gathering the news, producing and publishing, has tremendously opened up new avenues of news flow across the whether it is a corner of a country or center of the state, center of the country, and there is it become more and more inclusive in nature and democratic. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. We have discussed in this the tools and practices of mobile journalism, and you can install some of these apps and try and shoot and experiment, so that, and also you can even use any of these social networking platforms or even news portals to showcase what potential news that you can bring it to the public domain. Thank you very much. See you in the next lecture.